St. Mary's College, the 173rd Commencement Ceremony. Please rise for the national anthem, and please remain standing after the invocation. The national anthem will be sung by graduating senior Reagan Stoller.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a todos. I'm Sister Veronique Wiedover, President of the Sisters of the Holy Cross and a member of the Board of Trustees of St. Mary's College. It is my privilege to welcome you on their behalf to this commencement ceremony. Commencement is often a day of mixed feelings. This virtual celebration, due to the coronavirus pandemic, gives even more reason for each of us to be emotional. Graduates of the class of 2020, even though you are not physically present to each other today, I invite you to mutually savor and enjoy this moment of achievement. Celebrate with your classmates and thank your family, friends, and the members of the St. Mary's community who have accompanied you on this journey. Ahora comenzaremos nuestra ceremonia con la invocación. We now begin our ceremony with the invocation. God of all people, we gather to remember all that you have been for us and to celebrate this milestone in the lives of the graduates of St. Mary's College. We give thanks for the class of 2020. As they are called by name, may they know that their Holy Cross education has indeed prepared and empowered them to be persons of intellectual vigor, aesthetic appreciation, religious sensibility, and civil responsibility. We pray in gratitude for the Sisters of the Holy Cross, founders and sponsors of St. Mary's, for all who have contributed to make their education possible, for the faculty, staff, administrators, and trustees who support the mission of this cherished institution. Mary, seat of wisdom, guide these graduates to be a strong, transformational presence in the world and to always act with integrity, love, and compassion, and so strengthen God's reign of justice and peace. Amen.
Good afternoon. I am Nancy Negvasil, Interim President of St. Mary's College. I am so happy to welcome you to the virtual St. Mary's College 2020 Commencement Ceremonies. I would like to read the college's land acknowledgement statement as we begin. We wish to acknowledge and honor the Native people and their traditional homelands on which we stand today. We particularly recognize the Pokagon Band of Potawatomi and the Miami, who have been utilizing this land and its resources for many years and continue to do so today. With deep gratitude, we acknowledge the Native people and their culture within our community, as well as acknowledging the land upon which we gather, pray, learn, and work. Today, we celebrate the culmination of several years of hard work on the part of our students and many sacrifices on the part of their families. It is our opportunity to celebrate their accomplishments in spite of the virtual nature of this ceremony, primarily because they and you fully deserve this time of celebration. Thank you all for joining us. I hope there is wild clapping and joy in each of your homes or places of shelter as we enjoy this wonderful day from all parts of the nation and the world together.
The recipient of the Outstanding Senior Award exemplifies the spirit and values of her school and is distinguished by scholarship, leadership, and outstanding dedication to St. Mary's through participation in both curricular and extracurricular activities. As the valedictorian represents the mind and the Lumen Christi recipient represents the soul, the Outstanding Senior embodies the heart of St. Mary's. The 2020 Alumni Association Outstanding Senior is Katie Glenn. A brilliant student, Katie is widely recognized as a natural leader who willingly gives of herself in every situation. Graduating with a double major in political science and philosophy and a minor in economics, Katie has earned Dean's List honors every semester at St. Mary's. She has served as a peer mentor, the vice president of Bells for Life, and a committee member for the St. Mary's Sustainability Group. She is also a 4-year member of the cross-country team, captaining the team for the past 2 years. With an aptitude for understanding the world around her, Katie is wise beyond her years. She often serves as a bridge between classmate and instructor or team member and coach. She is the person her classmates look up to. When they turn to her for guidance and support, Katie is there to listen and counsel. Her deep, abiding faith is integral to Katie's life, and she challenges herself to seek out opportunities for growth. She's actively involved in the Friends with Sisters program and has a special relationship with Sister Barbara. While 60 years separate them, they consider each other to be friends for life. An extraordinary St. Mary's woman, Katie embodies the heart of St. Mary's with her work ethic, perseverance, strength, and growth. While there are many remarkable women at St. Mary's, Katie is truly outstanding. The Alumni Association Board of Directors therefore proudly honors Katie Glenn as the Outstanding Senior of 2020.
The Lumen Christi Award is presented each year to a member of the senior class who is recognized by the college community as an outstanding woman of faith, one who has excelled in leadership, loyalty, and has had a profound effect on St. Mary's community. The Lumen Christi Award is the highest award the college confers upon an undergraduate student. Today, we honor a senior who is a woman of humble faith and an exceptional servant leader. From the moment she arrived at St. Mary's, she began a profound journey of service that would span years and continents. As a first-year student, she founded an organization to teach leadership skills to middle school children across South Bend. She became a Catholic Relief Services student ambassador through campus ministry. She tutored children from La Casa de Amistad and the Boys and the Girls Club, and during her time abroad. Last year, she began a weekly advocacy call-in initiative to speak up for immigrants and refugees. She helped run the Regional Catholic Relief Services student training on campus, then went to Washington, D.C. to attend the National Advanced Leadership Training Conference. This year, as a ministry assistant, she was a compassionate and supportive presence to her sister students. She has been awarded multiple grants to fund several initiatives and has been recognized for many awards, including the prestigious Newman Civic Fellowship. Last year, she received the St. Catherine's Medal, awarded to one student annually, acknowledging her leadership in scholarship, faith, and service. This senior approaches service with humility, often as a leader, but just as often as a follower, inviting others so no one is excluded. She reaches out to students who are struggling and makes them feel at home. She builds community on campus as she seeks to engage issues of social justice. It's a rare person who does that as well as this student. The spirit within which she serves is rooted in her understanding of the call of faith, and her actions uphold the dignity of those with whom she serves. She is a true Lumen Christi at St. Mary's by illuminating a path of life and hope through her self-gift to others. It is therefore with deep gratitude and tremendous joy that we honor Anne McGuire, the Light of Christ, with the 2020 Lumen Christi Award.
The My Deliver Award, presented for the first time this year, is the highest award the college confers upon a graduate student. The recipient, selected from the cohort completing advanced degrees, is recognized for scholastic distinction and exceptional achievement. The inaugural Madeliva Award recipient is completing the Doctor of Nursing Practice degree. Equipped with the knowledge and ability to make a meaningful and lasting impact in the health and well-being of populations, the award recipient fully embraces this role. Her practice innovation project will have a major impact on how medical providers deliver care to improve the health of people living in rural Uganda. At her own expense, she made many trips to Uganda in order to learn about the needs and culture of the clinic while also purchasing quality pre-owned computers for the healthcare providers to use. In her project, she designed an electronic medical record system based on current documentation standards and consistent with cultural Ugandan norms. Hosted by the Sisters of Holy Cross, her pioneering work continues in the spirit of the Holy Cross Sisters and will improve healthcare delivery and outcomes for this rural and underserved part of the world. Undoubtedly making a difference in the world as a graduate student, she is not done yet. Following graduation, she plans to apply for a postdoctoral fellowship to further pursue her interest in global studies. For her distinctive scholastic and exceptional achievements, it is with great joy that we congratulate and honor Kayla Wilkerson with the 2020 Madeliva Award.
Hello everyone, and welcome to St. Mary's. My name is Sarah Hotzinger, and today I will be your tour guide. I've had the privilege of serving as a student ambassador for the college for the past 2 years, and in those 2 years I've given a lot of tours around campus. Recently, I've switched to showing prospective students and their families around via virtual tour, and so since we can't all be gathered here today, I thought it would be fitting to take you all on one last tour of St. Mary's, albeit a virtual one. Think back to the first time you stepped on campus, most likely for a tour about 5 or 6 years ago, and let's be honest, this place probably didn't mean anything to you. You walked around, you saw the buildings, you might have fallen in love with what you saw, or you might not have. Maybe you don't even remember it at all amid the blur of all the other college visits you were making. Regardless of what you first thought, you somehow ended up here, driving down the tree-lined avenue in August with all of your belongings crammed into a car or perhaps a small moving truck. You decorated your dorm room, you made it through first year orientation and closing of the circle, and you started your first year of classes as a belle. You studied here. You found something to be passionate about in one of our over 50 programs of majors, minors, and concentrations. You took full advantage of the 5 office hours or more professors hold every week, and you were inspired by their seemingly endless knowledge and wisdom. You found a favorite study spot, whether it be in the sun-filled atrium of Spez or the basement nooks of Madeliva, and you spent countless hours in the recently renovated Trumper Computer Center. You made a home here. You debated the merits of our 2 first-year residence halls, McCandless and Regina, over a made-to-order omelet from Daryl in the dining hall. You joined one of the over 500 extracurricular clubs and sports teams offered between St. Mary's, Notre Dame, and Holy Cross. You formed friendships with girls from places as diverse as Texas, New Mexico, or the suburbs of Chicago, and you forged those friendships over fries from 1844 Grill and ring picks in front of Le Mans or on the island. If all had gone according to plan, a few days ago, we would have gathered into a circle once more, this time to open it. And although we cannot gather physically today, we gather virtually. This time, with a few more friendships, a little more knowledge, and a lot more confidence than we might have had when we first gathered on Lemon Green. We look forward to the day when we can safely gather together again to celebrate all of our accomplishments as a class. But until that point, let us recognize that our time here on this physical campus is what brought us together as a class in the first place. However, what has kept us together in the past weeks and months, and what will continue to keep us together in the years and decades to come, will be the incredible sisterhood we've established here. A sisterhood that will likely take the form of texts, video calls, and much anticipated reunions. And so, we end our tour today by thinking about everything on this campus and what it all means to us. Our experiences here have given this place meaning, a meaning that it did not have when we took our first tours a few years ago. By coming here and learning and making a home and forming friendships, we are continuing the sisterhood that has thrived here since 1844 and that will continue to thrive for years to come.
Hello from our home bells. If you could all please close your eyes with me and picture yourself here with all of us together. Now, please picture yourself as a flower. I know, weird. However, I encourage you to try. Do you see yourself as a rose, a lily, a daisy? All are acceptable, perfect, and yet so different from one another. Now, think back to your first year at St. Mary's College. Would you have pictured yourself the same? For me, I was a seedling my first year, a closed-off, timid, anxious, self-conscious seedling, confused about my future and absolutely petrified about the next 4 years of my life. I had absolutely no idea about the journey of growth that I was about to embark on during my time at St. Mary's College. However, I began to sprout. Whether I knew it or not, each class I took and each challenge I faced forced growth within me. I struggled navigating college in more ways than one. I struggled with balancing a rigorous class schedule with hanging out with friends. I struggled with finding time for my own mental and physical health. I struggled with feeling accepted. However, as days, then semesters, and then years went by, these struggles grew less and less, and my triumphs grew more and more. Now, I can assure you that every single one of us has had a similar, yet entirely unique story about our own personal growth during our time here at St. Mary's. We have all experienced the highs and the lows, the troubles and the tribulations of college in our own way. No one journey being more or less important than another. Maybe you failed a test you studied countless hours for. That was a thorn in your own personal growth. Maybe you experienced an unfortunate fight with your best friend. Those tears you cried were rain. And hey, no rain, no flowers. And let's face it, we have experienced a devastating storm in the midst of what we thought were going to be some of the most memorable moments of our lives. Some of us had to drop what we were doing and work on the front lines while still attending school, while others had to go home and take care of family members in need. But in the midst of these highs and these lows, these storms and these thorns, our professors were there for us, encouraging us to grow and to flourish, as well as to fight to succumb to our lows and celebrate our highs. In a way, I guess you could call them our much needed fertilizer, and the St. Mary's institution, the sun, under which we were given the opportunity to grow from the timid, immature seedlings we once were into the strong, beautiful flowers we are today. Each story of growth took a different amount of time and a different path, encountered different thorns, dry seasons, and storms, but ultimately allowed for each of us to find our own confidence and individuality. Now, look at the incredible women you have become. God has created each and every one of us in His own image and likeness. Embrace your individuality and be grateful for the journey of discovery St. Mary's has provided you, even the virtual journeys. I personally want to thank all of those who have helped me blossom into the woman I am today. Without you, without my family, without my professors, without this college, without God, I guarantee you that I would still be that meek seedling I once was.
Seeing Anna and Sarah on campus takes me back to 4 years ago, when I attended Meet Me on the Avenue and made the best decision of my life. I committed to St. Mary's College, the place I would soon call home. However, once I stepped foot on campus, my life shifted pretty drastically. I was confronted by culture shock and I struggled to make friends. I think we can all remember that struggle of finding the people we now call our sisters. Like many of you, I dealt with homesickness, I was plagued with doubt, I began to feel anxious about my self-worth, and I questioned whether or not I belonged. I struggled. I felt pain. And at this point, I was left with two choices. I could quit and accept failure, or I could prove others wrong. I chose the latter. And it was this choice that has allowed me to overcome any obstacle that has crossed my path during these past 4 years. And I think all of us, as we graduate today, can share in this narrative. During our time at St. Mary's, we have faced pain, hardship, and discomfort, but we come out on the other side stronger and more resilient than ever. As I reflect back on my time at St. Mary's College, I cannot be anything but grateful. Even though we are living through this difficult time, think about those defining moments along your St. Mary's journey. Whether it be the times you went to your professors stressing over a major assignment or dancing on your chairs at late night breakfast, every point along your journey has shaped who you are today. Even those moments of pain, rejection, or failure have allowed you to become the strong, persevering, and courageous Belle you are now. So I invite you to appreciate every experience you have had at St. Mary's, even those you may label as negative. Because if I have learned one thing over these past 4 years, it's that equating perfection with beauty serves no purpose. So if you want one thing to take away from your St. Mary's College journey, let it be this. Just because your St. Mary's experience was not perfect does not mean it wasn't beautiful. With our senior year abruptly stolen from us, we know what it's like to handle a devastating situation. But within this time of strife, true resilience arises. We have seen Belles coming together online, Zooming with their friends to keep our St. Mary's community strong. And despite this situation, we have continued to cultivate our brilliant minds and learn virtually with the help of our incredible professors. So whether it be how you perceive yourself, the world, or your place in it, I invite you to stray away from associating perfection with beauty. In fact, those imperfections in your St. Mary's College journey are what truly make it beautiful. For without the rain, there can be no rainbow. Without the storm, there can be no recovery. And without the struggle, there can be no resilience. Redefining this relationship can be a source of liberation. It can free you from that pain, grief, and loss you may be experiencing right now. Accepting that imperfection is the true synonym for beauty can clear your eyes from the cloudiness that judgment bears. Loving yourself becomes a guarantee, and failure is a privilege. So I invite you, as we step into the next chapter of our lives, to be open. Open to failure, open to rejection, open to discomfort. For it is in these times of adversity that we rise up, prove others wrong, and achieve the seemingly impossible.
We may be living in a time of uncertainty right now, but there is one thing we can be certain of, that just like when we first moved onto campus, the avenue will always lead us home.
St. Mary's promises us discovery. Let us make this promise a reality by diving into the future with open hearts and open minds, because resilient Belles like us are ready to take on the world.
We did it. We made it. We blossomed. Now it's time to plant our own seeds of knowledge and individuality throughout the world. I now challenge you to be that individual that encourages growth in everyone you meet.
Congratulations to the class of 2020.
Look at all the amazing things you have accomplished.
We did it. Bell, yeah.
For over 175 years, St. Mary's College has educated its students to respond to the complex needs and challenges of the world and to use their gifts in meaningful and impactful ways. Today, we honor a St. Mary's alumna who not only witnessed a profound need, but committed her life to understanding its impact and creating solutions for the greater good. Marianne Wolf graduated from St. Mary's in 1969 with a bachelor's degree in English literature and the dream of being a scholar of poetry. She continued her education at Northwestern University, earning her master's degree in the same field, and looked forward to her doctorate. While teaching third grade at a Filipino mission school in Hawaii, she watched students struggle with literacy. Wolf became determined to help children learn how to read and better their lives. She pivoted her academic plans from poetry to neuroscience, earning her doctorate in human development and psychology from Harvard. She devoted her research to understanding what happens in the reading brain, then using that knowledge in pursuit of the larger goal, developing global literacy as a basic human right. Today, Wolf is a cognitive neuroscientist recognized as a pioneer on the complex issue of literacy and dyslexia. She has written over 160 scientific articles on reading and learning disabilities and is the author of 5 books. A true academic, she has shared her gifts and insight with students through positions at Tufts, Stanford, Harvard, and Chapman, and is currently at UCLA as a visiting professor and director of the Center for Dyslexia, Diverse Learners, and Social Justice. Wolf is co-founder of Curious Learning, a global literacy initiative. Her expansive knowledge of literacy and the brain has earned her dozens of prestigious research and teaching honors over the years. St. Mary's College honored Wolf with the Alumni Achievement Award in 1994. Today, we celebrate Marianne Wolf for her extraordinary work in the field of neuroscience and how her research in literacy has made an impact on the world. Dr. Nick Vasil, I present Marianne Wolf, class of 1969, and ask that you, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of St. Mary's College, confer upon her the degree of Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa.
Dr. Wolf, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of St. Mary's College, I confer upon you this honorary degree. Now, we will hear Dr. Wolf's commencement address to our graduates.
My words to you all gathered here will be like no other commencement address in the history of St. Mary's College, where I began my life as a scholar decades ago. I am forced to address you through a screen which could make you feel distant from feeling the singular achievement this day should represent for you and your families and your teachers. But together, you and I will not let that happen. Rather, it is my great hope that you will use all your imagination and our shared tensile strength of will to make this graduation address something as real as if I stood before you in person. I want to begin, therefore, like any other commencement address, with thanks. I want to thank all the people who brought all of you to this moment. President Nancy Neckfasil, whose stewardship at St. Mary's over the last years has added to its vitality. Michelle Egan, her assistant, who stood by her side and mine in this graduation. To President-elect Katie, Dr. Katie Conboy. To the chair of the Board of Trustees, Gretchen Flicker. To all the other trustees, deans, faculties, who have been the guardians and stewards and transmitters of knowledge. To the parents and grandparents and families that made it possible for all of you to come to this moment. And finally, to each of you in the class of 2020 who are graduating with bachelor's and master's degrees in speech and language and autism and doctoral degrees in nursing, you who will become part of the front line of our nation's defense. But I begin with gratitude not as a commencement convention, but as the leitmotif of my talk. The major themes of my address today will be the sum of two principles that were first formed at St. Mary's, but then governed the rest of my life. The love of learning and learning to love with the many and various forms of love. But before I describe these two themes further, I want to contextualize them in a most unusual way with a few memories of my own graduation in May 1969. It was another time of great tumult when every value in our country was questioned, when families were divided, not unlike today, about then the nature of the Vietnam War, the fallibility of our leaders, and the question of what loyalty to one's country really means when it clashes with our most cherished ethical values about human life. Now, I'm going to hope your administration will forgive me for telling you two indelible memories, one that's slightly salacious and one that's slightly heretical. Unlike most of my very well-dressed classmates, a small group of us wore only our slips and undergarments beneath our robes during the entirety of the ceremonies. It was our private protest against the war's denuding of life and scorched earth in Vietnam. We exposed our protest ever so briefly when everyone else was throwing their caps to the sky. It's an understatement to say that we made absolutely no impact on anyone there. But we knew that we must take an action, however small, against what we had come to believe through our own research and knowledge that the war was morally wrong. We sought to apply this knowledge about the realities of the war, and we sought to give visible commitment to understanding perspectives of others. We sought what Father John Dunn, my lifelong teacher, mentor, and friend, called passing over into the lives and feelings of others, even those who were deemed enemies by a country we loved desperately, whether as conscientious objectors or as soldiers on the other side. It was my first foray into asking, as the great German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer asked from a Nazi prison cell, what would Christ do? It is my deep hope that all of you, when faced as you will be faced with questions of great uncertainty in your future, that you will remember two things from this small act of undergraduates, much like you today. Search and find and know the facts, the science, and the ethical dimensions of any action you might take, or even more difficult, might refuse to take, and ask Bonhoeffer's soul-deep question, what would Christ do? The great American novelist Marilyn Robinson said, quote, "The greatest test ever made of human wisdom and decency may very well come to this, your generation. We must teach and learn broadly and seriously," unquote. It was at St. Mary's that I was taught seriously and learned broadly. And it is essential that you who are graduating today understand not only what you have been taught, but how a foundation of learning and caring prepares you like nothing else for what will be asked of you. Now, my second memory from May 1969 involves a very different kind of protest, of all things from my very Irish grandmother, Marjorie Mullen. Father John Dunn had just delivered a truly memorable homily in which he proclaimed, quoting the poet Rainer Maria Rilke, that our God was a wild God, and we must look for him not only inside our churches, but also in the faces of those around us, the poor, the disenfranchised, the lonely, the young, the sick, and the old. My dear and beloved Nana left Laughlin Auditorium in a peak of a fit, vehemently asking me publicly how anyone, much less a priest, could ever call God wild, and did I agree with such a terrible view. I use these two shards of memory because they underscore for me the importance of living out beliefs based on knowledge across every age and situation, and because they illumine a path, how difficult a path one takes when seriously looking for the faces of love, of God, in times of great uncertainty, pain, and loss, like those in the war when I graduated, and like those today in a different war against an invisible enemy. And yet, it is in just such times that the full importance of learning, hope, and actions based on both are most clearly needed. Look around you for the evidence today. Our hospitals, our scientists' labs, our soup kitchens, our police and fire stations, our legislatures and governors' offices, and inside the trucks driven by sanitation workers, ambulance drivers, and food deliverers. These memories from my own graduation day illustrate the most important principles formed at St. Mary's, but that required daily discipline over a lifetime. The profound importance of a love of learning and the great gifts that come along the way from learning to see the many faces of love. The first principle may sound much like a platitude to you, but listen carefully. I want to take that phrase and wring it out with all my strength so that you may understand how learning can change your life and those around you. One of the most beautiful scholarly minds in our world, Alberto Manguel, wrote this luminous but difficult passage, which will require all your attention to understand. Quote, "What has become a cornerstone of faith to me, truer than true, and more so as time goes by, are the words that the abbot says in Kipling's story, The Eyes of Allah. Quote, but for the pain of the soul, there is outside of God's grace but one drug, and that is a man's craft, a human's craft, learning, that will propel the actions of his or her own mind. Of course, I added the her. In this our time of unimaginable uncertainty and anxiety about the future of our society and indeed of our earth itself, Mangel directs us to the one true drug, the antidote for the pain of the soul, which so many of us either feel or will feel. Learning is the ground we must stand upon and build if we are to face all our challenges, present and future, with knowledge and hope. The love of learning is no insipid catchphrase. It is our species' best vehicle for moving from ignorance and despair to solutions that yield light. Each of you here today possesses the foundation for taking your own newly minted body of knowledge and using it to increase the likelihood our society will not only meet the multiple dimensions of this crisis and the next, but learn from it and become stronger, more reflective, and if we are very lucky, more morally grounded in a connected world. The fate of our species, and indeed the fate of our own fragile earth, will depend not on how much money it will take to get the world back to work, but how much learning and knowledge we choose to apply to preserving the lives and well-being of humankind and the preservation of an earth on the verge of atrophy and destruction by causes of our own making. This brings me to my second principle, intimately connected to the first. Learning to love with the many forms of love. Now, I am tempted to discomfort your administrators slightly again with one more memory from St. Mary's. I was a Madaleva scholar and able to become one of the first co-ed students to attend multiple classes at both St. Mary's and Notre Dame. With no small embarrassment, I will admit that I dated more young men than anyone ever should have. As my Irish grandmother Nana Wolfe told all my family, "She's like Jesus, she loves them all." A phrase that remains etched in my memory today. But the reality is that Sister Franzita Kane in her Dante seminar, Ms. Noel in her 19th century literature courses, and Father Dunn in his philosophy religion class taught me more about the multiple dimensions of love than any boyfriend at Notre Dame. They taught me through lectures and books that every human possesses this deep, never-ending longing to be loved, protected, and cared for unconditionally. But that to place the burden of this longing entirely on one other person or to expect it of ourselves is misplaced and often is not doomed, as were many of the characters in George Eliot's Middlemarch or the lovers buffeted by the winds in the Divine Comedy. Father Dunn asked us to look beyond the limits of human love if we were to preserve and deepen it. He asked us to search for all the faces of love in all the manifestations of God in our lives, whether or not we even believed in God. John Donne threw a spiritual lifeline that I now wish to give to you. The very act of searching, consciously pursuing the varied forms of love of God across every person, every situation, every adversity. This act itself fills our soul with the love we might unfairly demand of others. In the process, this search for God in time and memory helps us see the multiple, ever mysterious manifestations, not only in the easy places in those people we already love, but in the others whom Christ sought out years before us, the poor, the refugees, the disenfranchised, the lonely, the sick, and now the dying in our midst. We have never been given a richer moment to seek God's many faces and recognize our common cause with those many others whom society can sometimes discard in nursing homes or reject and build walls to shut out. Only a month ago, I returned from giving a talk about the power of literacy and human development for the Vatican's Pontifical Society for Social Sciences. Pope Francis came and spoke to our small group of neuroscientists and educators with an urgency that was so palpable and that came from a tutored mind and a caring heart. He asked us all not to turn our learning, our knowledge, our teaching only towards our own, but to understand the admonition from our all one best teacher, to feed the poor, to clothe the hungry, to minister to the sick, and to teach the young to think and to love. He asked all of us to build a new form of education for our world that would be the one sure way to save our fragile planet and society. Pope Francis did not know then that only a few weeks later he would climb a lonely, newly built ramp and platform in the middle of a deserted St. Peter's Square to ask the world to preserve hope in the middle of fear, to preserve love in the midst of loneliness and isolation, and to use our collective knowledge to preserve our species and our earth. Today, I ask you to do the same, to preserve your hope, to broaden and deepen your knowledge, and to use all your intelligence to act and love wisely and well for the rest of what the poet Mary Oliver called your one wild and precious life. Thank you from the mind and heart. Congratulations, class of 2020. Good luck and Godspeed to you all.
President Nekvusil, I present to you the candidates for the graduate degrees in course. I certify that they have fulfilled all the requirements for their particular degrees. And I ask that you, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and with the recommendation of the faculty of St. Mary's College, confer upon them the degree which each has earned.
Good afternoon. My name is Tracy White, and I am the Senior Academic Advisor here at St. Mary's. I have the distinct pleasure of reading the names of all the graduates today. The degree of Doctor of Nursing Practice is conferred upon Madeline Jane Beld, Family Nurse Practitioner. Laura Rising Grant, Family Nurse Practitioner. Madawat Parsam, Family Nurse Practitioner. Erin Nicole Paulette, Family Nurse Practitioner. Jessica Lynn Rizzo, Family Nurse Practitioner. Carly Elizabeth Thompson, Family Nurse Practitioner. Kayla Therese Wilkerson, Family Nurse Practitioner. The degree of Master of Autism Studies is conferred upon Catherine Anderson Cogshall, Autism Studies. The degree of Master of Science is conferred upon Lauren Bustamante, Speech-Language Pathology. Courtney Sheehan Cook, Speech-Language Pathology. Helen Rose Eckrich, Speech-Language Pathology. Madison Rose Feeney, Speech-Language Pathology. Carly Lynn Gabika, Speech-Language Pathology. Kimberly Nicole Gove, Speech-Language Pathology. Matthew Eugene Hawkins, Data Science. Marissa Homan, Speech-Language Pathology. Alexis Nicole Kumler, Speech-Language Pathology. Alexis Lemus, Speech-Language Pathology. Natalie Ann Lichtenberger, Speech-Language Pathology. Molly McDowell McCullough, Speech-Language Pathology. Courtney Lynn Martin, Speech-Language Pathology. Christine Majata, Data Science. Sarah Marie McClure, Speech-Language Pathology. Madeline Ann Minaudo, Speech-Language Pathology. Molly McCall O'Rourke, Speech-Language Pathology. Shayna Marie Pembroke, Speech-Language Pathology. Jolie Lynette Phillips, Speech-Language Pathology. Jordan Sawfrank, Speech-Language Pathology. Melissa Maciel Santos, Speech-Language Pathology. Valerie Jordan Sargent, Speech-Language Pathology. Madison K. Schaefer, Speech-Language Pathology. Tiana Sherman, Speech-Language Pathology. Nava Shaivi, Speech-Language Pathology. Catherine Ann Scornia, Speech-Language Pathology. Rachel Elizabeth Stumpf, Speech-Language Pathology. Tiffany Renee Schwank, Speech-Language Pathology. Josephat Tafranika, Data Science. Rachel Elizabeth Talcott, Speech-Language Pathology. Victoria Elizabeth Taylor, Speech-Language Pathology. Heather Williams, Speech-Language Pathology. Rachel Ann Willing, Speech-Language Pathology.
President Ekwesili, I present to you the candidates for the undergraduate degrees in course. I certify that they have fulfilled all the requirements for their particular degrees. And I ask that you, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, and with the recommendation of the faculty of St. Mary's College, confer upon them the degree which each has earned.
I do need to let you know that the honors listed in the commencement program is based on each student's cumulative GPA at the time of printing. This is also true of what you will see listed on your screen. Final honors, which is what will be printed on the diploma, is determined after the student has successfully completed all degree coursework and graduation requirements. And that is what I'll be announcing today. So with that, let's get started. The degree of Bachelor of Arts is conferred upon Cassandra Acosta, Psychology Sociology, summa cum laude. Nicole Ann Agarwal, Sociology, Communication Studies, summa cum laude and co-valedictorian. Allison Yvonne Alberts, English Literature, Secondary Education. Olivia Renee Allen, Elementary Education. Marta Antonetti, Political Science. Rihanna Miranda Riaga, English Literature, Spanish. Elizabeth Barrett, Philosophy, SDM, Organizational Studies, Behavior and Management, cum laude. Carmen Marie Bauer, Global Studies, Spanish, magna cum laude. Delaney Nicole Beach, Art, English Writing, magna cum laude. Emily Elizabeth Beam, Communication Studies, Humanistic Studies. Emma Christine Baudouin, Elementary Education. Brianna Beausoleil, Psychology, Theater. Emily Bednar, Psychology, cum laude. Retta Botts, English Literature, History, cum laude. Lily Nicole Brandt, Communication Studies. Jennifer Lynn Buck, Economics. Alexia Renee Calderon, Global Studies. Alexis Ann Kieran, Political Science, Global Studies, cum laude. Abigail Carter, Political Science. Tatiana Castilleja, Sociology, Communication Studies. Julissa Serda, Psychology. Maria Eloise Coleman, Political Science, Humanistic Studies, magna cum laude. Claire Conlon, Speech Language Pathology, summa cum laude. Haley Marie Kramer Stevens, Global Studies, French. Anne Noreen Curtis, Communication Studies, cum laude. Claire Cholgish, Psychology, magna cum laude. Janie Wausha Davis, Philosophy. Natalie Ann Davis, English Literature and Writing, Gender and Women's Studies. Molly Colleen Donegan, History, Political Science, magna cum laude. Jalen Rose Doyle, Speech Language Pathology, magna cum laude. Caitlin Drew, Elementary Education. Megan Marie Egursky, Speech Language Pathology, magna cum laude. Anissa El Sayed Awad, Global Studies. Caitlin Jane Emmett, English Literature and Writing, magna cum laude. Isabella Escobedo, Speech Language Pathology, magna cum laude. Hannah McBride Etzkorn, Psychology, cum laude. Mary Maureen Favo, Elementary Education, History. Elizabeth Ferry, History, Humanistic Studies, magna cum laude. Amanda Rosemarie Fisher, Communication Studies, cum laude. Hannah Christine Gams, Spanish, magna cum laude. Guadalupe Garcilaso, Spanish, Secondary Education, cum laude. Kara Joyce Gargan, Elementary Education, magna cum laude. Olivia Marie Garza, Gender and Women's Studies, Global Studies. Caitlin Gibbs, Elementary Education, Spanish, summa cum laude. Maura Catherine Gillig, Speech Language Pathology, magna cum laude. Catherine McKenna Glenn, Political Science, Philosophy, summa cum laude. Anastasia Gomez, Philosophy. Guadalupe Vanessa Gonzalez Zagal, Political Science, Communication Studies. Megan Goralchek, Political Science, History. Dominique Marie Gousset, Psychology, magna cum laude. Stephanie Erin Goyette, Psychology, summa cum laude. Mary Catherine Florence Graziano, Communication Studies. Madeline McKenna Greeley, Communication Studies. Madeline Marie Green, Psychology. Gracia Sofia Guapio Segura, Economics. Alyssa Anne-Marie Gutierrez, Psychology, summa cum laude. Audrey Lynn Jolie, philosophy. Elena Half, communication studies. Darby Lynn Harcourt, environmental studies. Sarah Lauren Hotzinger, sociology, summa cum laude and co-valedictorian. Magdalena Hernandez, Spanish. Bridget Lenore Therese Herod, religious studies. Jasmine Abigail Herrera, sociology. Anastasia Marie Height, sociology, magna cum laude. Sabrina Ann Hollis, psychology, cum laude. Maura Eileen Honan, communication studies. Savannah Jackson, history. Alexis Jacobs, physics. Yawen Jiang, economics, magna cum laude. Allison Riley Jones, communication studies. Sophie Marguerite Kaminsky, history. Catherine Keener, sociology, gender and women studies, cum laude. Carissa Kennedy, English literature. Jalen King, history, secondary education. Diana Michelle Kirk, elementary education, cum laude. Emily Klepper, mathematics, magna cum laude. Jennifer Renee Craigbaum, global studies, magna cum laude. Isabella Crockey, speech language pathology, cum laude. Courtney Rose Crochelle, economics, summa cum laude. Anna Lampton, elementary education. Emma Aloysia Larson, history, cum laude. Dorothy Lay, art, SDM, cognitive science, summa cum laude. Madison Nancy Lee, psychology, magna cum laude. Maura Ann Lee May, psychology. Michelle Ann Lester, political science. Yunchin Liu, statistical and actuarial mathematics, magna cum laude. Mary Elizabeth Lowry, speech language pathology. Sarah Catherine Ludwig, English literature, secondary education, summa cum laude. Mi-on Liu, psychology. Anne McGuire, global studies, magna cum laude. Alexandra Arlene Makrovich, elementary education, cum laude. Bobby Gina Mamalente, speech language pathology. Grace Matamore, speech language pathology, cum laude. Nicole Gloria McCaffery, psychology. Grace Patricia McCarthy, elementary education, cum laude. Sophia McDevitt, religious studies, summa cum laude. Bernadette Marie McGeever, communication studies, summa cum laude. Kathleen Marita Mead, elementary education. Grace Catherine Milligan, psychology, magna cum laude. Haley Margaret Mitchell, speech language pathology. Mary Elizabeth Moyer, psychology, magna cum laude. Jade Alexis Mosier, speech language pathology. Megan Mulrow, communication studies. Bonita Murphy, communication studies, summa cum laude. Colleen Lauren Murphy, elementary education, cum laude. Molly Murphy, communication studies. Sarah Elizabeth Nation, speech language pathology, magna cum laude. Gabrielle Neff, humanistic studies. Tara Marie Nelson, elementary education. Jessie Nguyen, environmental studies, cum laude. Emily Morgan Nikodemski, psychology. Cameron Elizabeth Nolfo, psychology. Mitty Norberg, global studies, summa cum laude. Anne Therese Nowak, communication studies. Erin Marie O'Brien, Speech Language Pathology, magna cum laude. Megan O'Brien, English Literature, magna cum laude. Shaylee Rebecca O'Donnell, Political Science, History. Sheila Marie O'Riordan, Elementary Education. Jessica Ostrowska, Global Studies. Shivali Akshay Patel, English Literature, magna cum laude. Elise Marie Paul, Communication Studies, magna cum laude. Megan Ann Peruski, History, Political Science. Isabella Grazia Picconi, Global Studies. Gladys Pina, Art. Jane Frances Pingle, Religious Studies, Philosophy, magna cum laude. Nicole Agnes Plager, Elementary Education. Madison Ponce, Global Studies. Nicole Marie Papo, Psychology. Kayla Elizabeth Powers, Psychology, magna cum laude. Madison Jane Pyle, Religious Studies. Olivia Grace Rake, Psychology, cum laude. Ijia Ren, Global Studies. Amanda Wrench, Speech Language Pathology, summa cum laude. Delaney Marie Rollman, Elementary Education, cum laude. Samantha Santa Maria, Sociology, magna cum laude. Allie Lorraine Schmidt, Communication Studies. Emma Mackenzie Schmidt, Elementary Education, cum laude. Frances Tobin Doherty Schroeder, Economics, magna cum laude. Elizabeth Ann Schubert, Elementary Education, summa cum laude. Taylor Schweitzer, Speech Language Pathology. Olivia Sencione, Art. Abigail Marion Subert, Psychology, magna cum laude. Kirsten Sherman, Computing and Applied Mathematics, Theater. Claire Simon, Psychology. Hannah Simpson, Speech Language Pathology, Spanish. Sheridan Ann Sims, Communication Studies, magna cum laude. Abigail Frances Smedley, Elementary Education. Emily Pearl Smith, Psychology. Emma Page Snodgrass, Speech Language Pathology, magna cum laude. Catherine Stalter, Communication Studies, Religious Studies, magna cum laude. Mary Grace Steckschulte, Elementary Education. Joanna Stephanie Stokitoyu, Speech Language Pathology, Spanish, summa cum laude. Elizabeth Marie Stockwell, Speech Language Pathology, magna cum laude. Rebecca Suzanne Strom, English Writing, Humanistic Studies, summa cum laude. Taylor Shannon Strong, Communication Studies, cum laude. Taylor Rachel Zabo, Speech Language Pathology, magna cum laude. Rachel Thomas, Communication Studies, summa cum laude. Libby Rose Tierney, Communication Studies. Elizabeth Sandra Tizano, History. Mary Therese Trainer, Communication Studies, cum laude. Georgia Turvey, Spanish, cum laude. Gina Tuardos, English Writing, Communication Studies, magna cum laude. Samantha Underly, Communication Studies. Caitlin Marie Valley, Speech Language Pathology. Taryn Van Horn, Communication Studies, Psychology. Allison Elaine Vandenboer, English Writing. Lauren Mackenzie Vanasacker, Elementary Education, summa cum laude. Mallory Magdalene Van Overberg, Psychology, cum laude. Emily Varenka, Philosophy. Hennessy's Vasquez, Gender and Women's Studies. Cameron Verducci, Communication Studies. Catherine Marie Viz, Humanistic Studies, History. Nola Suzanne Wallace, Psychology, magna cum laude. Maria Elizabeth Wandor, economics. Lauren Marie Wartner, elementary education, magna cum laude. Catherine Lee Weiss, psychology. Sophia Marie Wittenberg, speech language pathology, summa cum laude. Valerie Renee Zajac, history. Alexa Zapata Fernandez, psychology. Anna Zappa, environmental studies, magna cum laude. Lucille Zeiger, elementary education, cum laude. Sierra Zielinski, English literature. Lauren Marie Zanani, psychology, magna cum laude. Anna Bernice Zingales, computing and applied mathematics, cum laude. The degree of Bachelor of Business Administration is conferred upon Brooklyn Paige Beltran, Business Administration. Hannah Christina Benchick, Business Administration, magna cum laude. Maria Elizabeth Betton, Business Administration. Sarah Ann Brown, accounting, magna cum laude. Claire Eileen Caraher, accounting, cum laude. Jocelyn Elizabeth Carrasco, accounting. Maggie Elizabeth Cloud, Business Administration, cum laude. Colleen Marie Dempsey, accounting. Courtney Michelle Driscoll, Business Administration. Camilla Edwards, Business Administration, Economics. Mary Claire Freeman, Business Administration, Economics. Emma Patterson Friend, Business Administration, magna cum laude. Kendall Gallagher, Business Administration. Molly Malone Galvin, Business Administration, magna cum laude. Mara Frances Conry Hart, Business Administration, cum laude. Riley Edith Hoy, Business Administration. Grace Hillman, Business Administration. Madison Hines, Business Administration. Chloe Jacobs, Business Administration, cum laude. Halen Jakovic, Business Administration. Claire Faith Judge, Business Administration, cum laude. Elizabeth Caspers, Business Administration, cum laude. Noelle Caries Keene, accounting, cum laude. Bridget Ann Kelly, Business Administration, economics, cum laude. Chloe Killian, Business Administration. Elena Kolarovic, Business Administration. Megan Elizabeth Lagore, Business Administration, magna cum laude. For her second degree, Yun Chin Lu, accounting, magna cum laude. Nicole Alexa Lukens, Business Administration. Shunji Ma, accounting, cum laude. Abigail Rose Mabry, Business Administration. Kathleen Bernadette Madigan, accounting. Melissa Martinez, Business Administration, magna cum laude. Anna Stacia Mason, Business Administration, cum laude. Lucia Catherine O'Quinn, Business Administration. Allison Ann Page, accounting, cum laude. Olivia Profiter, Business Administration, economics, cum laude. Lauren Susan Reed, Business Administration. Cecilia Elaine Ricca, Business Administration. Kennedy Kaylin Richardson, Business Administration, summa cum laude. Mary Kate Ritchie, Business Administration. Gabrielle Solera, accounting. Christina Sarah, Business Administration. Shannon Marie Sheridan, Business Administration. Anna Smagala, accounting. Jessica Snyder, Business Administration, cum laude. Diana Laura Soto, accounting, Spanish, cum laude. Sophia Elizabeth Swales, Business Administration. Laura Taylor, Business Administration. Leticia Torres Gaitan. Business Administration, magna cum laude. Leilana Linnea Marie Valdez, Business Administration. Catherine Vicenzi, Business Administration, cum laude. Alexis Danielle Vitone, Business Administration, cum laude. Shi Wang, Accounting, Economics, cum laude. Mia Washington, Business Administration, cum laude. Emma Marie Wilkie, Business Administration. Hannah Wilson, Accounting, cum laude. Isabella Wiseman, Business Administration, cum laude. The degree of Bachelor of Music is conferred upon Shannon Patricia Hack, Music Education, cum laude. Reagan Jane Stoller, Music Education, cum laude. The degree of Bachelor of Science is conferred upon Peyton Andresiak, Computing and Applied Mathematics. Anna Victoria Babyak, Biology, Secondary Education, magna cum laude. Michelle Elizabeth Barthelmess, Physics. Hannah Noel Baxter, Computing and Applied Mathematics, cum laude. Gabrielle Jean Beach, Physics, magna cum laude. Margaret Mary Benjamin, Chemistry, summa cum laude. Anna Christine Bills, Biology, summa cum laude and co-valedictorian. Mary Margaret Brandt, Statistical and Actuarial Mathematics, magna cum laude. Ilana Natalie Cizakowski, Mathematics. Jessica DeFrench, Mathematics. Catherine Callahan Doyle, Physics, cum laude. For her second degree, Hannah Christine Gams, Biology, magna cum laude. Abigail Luna Garza, Biology, cum laude. Margaret Gleason, Biology, cum laude. Chloe Elizabeth Griggs, Chemistry, summa cum laude. Kathleen Margaret Halloran, Physics. Shannon Hamilton, Biology, cum laude. Jennifer Hartman, Biology, summa cum laude. Kellen Kathleen Hinchy, Physics, magna cum laude. Claire Michelle Holman, Computing and Applied Mathematics. Cassidy Michaela Jungles, Biology, summa cum laude. Emma Helene Kelly, Chemistry, cum laude. Marta Elizabeth Kernan, Physics, cum laude. Madeline Judith Lamb, Chemistry, cum laude. Whitney Morgan Lewis, Chemistry, magna cum laude. Caitlin Marie Long, Chemistry. Mary Catherine Manley, Biology. Jordan Lee Marsman, Biology, cum laude. Halia Mash, Biology. Madeline Beatrice Mock, Biology. Lauren Olivia McGovern, Physics, magna cum laude. Abigail Kimberly Moose, Mathematics. Megan Jane Mullaney, Mathematics. Andrea Alejandra Ruiz Montoya, Chemistry. Molly Page Ryan, Computing and Applied Mathematics, Philosophy. Mariana Sanchez, Biology. Sophia Jiyun Sim, Biology, cum laude. Anna Kathleen Smearcheck, Computing and Applied Mathematics. Kiara Marie Smarata, Chemistry, magna cum laude. Hannah Marie Tanzos, Biology, summa cum laude. Marlon Terrazas, Biology. Macy Thompson, Mathematics. Bella Scarlett Tillman, Biology, Spanish. Isa Lorraine Unpinko, Biology. Alexis Wallace, Biology, cum laude. Cameron Marie Yurga, Biology, cum laude. Yufei Zhang, Statistical and Actuarial Mathematics, magna cum laude. The degree of Bachelor of Science in Nursing is conferred upon Jillian Jean Ackerman, cum laude. Emily Marie Barr, magna cum laude. Nicole Bora, magna cum laude. Emily Casado, cum laude. Morgan McKinley Chichester, cum laude. Maria Elisabetta Cheravino. Caitlin Ann Clifford. Megan Catherine Cooer, magna cum laude. Blair Juliana Danahay, cum laude. Bridget Diane Delaney. Mary Michelle Duchai, magna cum laude. Monica Lynn Egebrecht. Nicole E. Hart. Samantha Joy Etchide. Megan Kelly Feldmeyer. Rose Catherine Falkowski, cum laude. Madeline Elizabeth Gallagher, cum laude. Karen Garcia Montoya, magna cum laude. Kelly Patricia Golden. Colette Galogli. Catherine Claire Hansen, cum laude. Jessica Pauline Heiler. Emily Ibera, cum laude. Bridget Ann Julian. Kelsey Kyleman, magna cum laude. Kayla Rose Kanapke. Danielle Heather Knowlton, with a second major in Spanish. Ellen Rosemary Kochi. Savannah Crawl. Tara Marie Lewitsky. Nicolette Catherine LeBron. Catherine Lechner. Sydney Ann McAllister. Abigail Mengel. Sydney Alexandra Nash. Madeline Malloy Nettleton. Teresa Niehaus, cum laude. Kendra Elizabeth Osinski, cum laude. Emma Rose Paulson. Caitlin Elizabeth Pulowski, cum laude. Alexis Marie Pilara. Riley McCall Recker. Mary Claire Rhodes, cum laude. Carolina Wren Russell. Kerrigan Schmidt, cum laude. Mary Catherine Salvaggi. Lucille Reich Semler. Michaela Marie Valenti. Erica Wright. The degree of Bachelor of Social Work is conferred upon Alexandria Baylock, Olivia Bentley, Maria Kelleher Burke, Amati Maite Campbell, Jillian Elizabeth Daney, Megan Elizabeth Drolet, magna cum laude, Carrie Ann DeWire, magna cum laude, Grace Irving, Austin Marie Fitzgerald, cum laude. For her second degree, Magdalena Hernandez, Corinne Janik, Olivia Ann Lathers. For her second degree, Sophia McDevitt, summa cum laude. Margaret Kathleen McKinnon. Catherine Emily Niles, magna cum laude. Talia Joanna Teresa Robles. For her second degree, Georgia Turvey, cum laude. Claire Elizabeth Wade. Catherine Dower Wankelman, with a second major in Gender and Women's Studies, magna cum laude. Hannah Wykowski.
I'm actually going to ask you to applaud again because on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the faculty at St. Mary's College, I confer your degree. It is my great pleasure to say that you are now officially a graduate of the college. And I hope there is lots of joy and clapping in your homes. Dear class of 2020, when you came to St. Mary's, you brought with you many talents and gifts. During your time here, you have shared your talents with the college community. You have performed in O'Loughlin in the Little Theater. You have played on the athletic fields and courts. You have presented your final capstone and research projects, and you have participated in discussions inside and outside the classroom. It is a bit difficult expressing this adequately without seeing you in front of me face to face. But you should know that no matter where you are today, our pride in you is not lessened. You have made us so proud as you have grown and developed and realized success in your journey here. If you have learned only one thing from your time at St. Mary's, I hope it is that all of us are called to something greater than ourselves. We have an obligation to use the talents given to us by God. And we are to use our gifts to lift others up, to stand for inclusion and justice, to be advocates for those who have no voice, and to pave the way for others coming behind us to find their place in the world. Today is one of those days when you find yourself filled with emotion. This year has ended in such a strange way. While it is very natural for you to experience sadness in leaving your friends and the faculty who have done so much to help you grow, there's an added layer in not being able to celebrate in person. And yet, I have seen much evidence on social media that you have found ways to connect with one another. You are very creative. You inspire me in this, and I know you recognize that you really are ready to move on. This time of emotion is truly kind of a strange tug of war, and it's a bittersweet place to be. Today, as we celebrate this momentous occasion, I'm certain you are not yet fully aware of the magnitude of the gift that has been given to you through your education at St. Mary's, the gift that helped you become the strong individuals you are today. Remember that famous quote by Sister Madeliva Wolf? She said, "We will not promise you happiness. We will not wish you security. For we remember that security is mortal's chiefest enemy. And we know that you can be secure only when you can stand everything that can happen to you. If your school has prepared you for this, it has been a good school." This trial, this challenge within which you are still living is exactly what Sister Madeliva was talking about. You have learned firsthand what it means to shift your life on a dime. And you have met that challenge. You are successful. We celebrate you. I pray that you will believe in yourself, that you do believe that you are ready to stand everything that can, and frankly, that will happen to you. Trust what you have learned. And now I would like you to pray with me one more time. Loving Creator, please bless the paths that lie ahead of these graduates. Guide them as they begin their lives away from St. Mary's College. Give them strength to face life's challenges. Give them wisdom as they make life-changing decisions. Bless them with the abundant love of family and friends, and help them to use their many gifts to bless others and to bring honor and glory to you. In Jesus' name, amen. St. Mary's graduates, members of the class of 2020, take what you have learned here, go into the world, use your many gifts to make that difference, to change the world into a better place for those who follow. Do not be afraid to raise your voice, to lift up the marginalized, to stretch out your arms to reassure those who are fearful, or to walk in confidence with those who are too often alone. Your opportunity is now. Congratulations, class of 2020.
To close this ceremony, will the graduates please stand for the singing of the Bells of St. Mary's, led by graduating senior Reagan Stoller. Following the end of the song, celebrate your accomplishments with your families. Congratulations to the class of 2020.